see here. Are we rolling? Looks like we are rolling. Good morning, everyone. It is March 25th, Wednesday of 2026. If you're joining here live for the first time, or if you're watching us on the playback, what we're going to be doing is an overall wellness check on the crypto market. Then we're going to look at silver, gold, oil, U.S. stock market, and the Japanese bond market. Not a whole lot has changed this week, but we are going to be diving into things just as a way for us to kind of stay current on the market. Things have been moving forward with the Clarity Act, so going to have a little bit of that to cover later on in the show today. So kicking things right off, we'll say good morning. So we've got good morning, Jim. Good morning, Steph. Good morning, Mill Power. And good morning, FRD. I'm going to hop straight into CoinMarketCap, and we're going to kick things off. So first things first, the Fear and Greed Index, it is showing to be pretty steady. It was around this level yesterday as well. So we are really in the mid-30s for the Fear and Greed Index. If you're not familiar with the Fear and Greed Index, it basically shows where the sentiment is in the overall market. There's a lot of different indices that go into creating this actual score. Basically what it means is that the market is still in fear. 50 would be around neutral. So we have actually seen some progress since, early March, and definitely late February was pretty bad as far as fear and greed goes. In fact, back in late February, it was as low as 11 on some days, 15, 16 in that range. So we're coming out of the extreme fear. We're still in the low end of fear. This is what I like to call the accumulation zone. Basically, what we want to do, in simple layman's terms, is do it the opposite of what the market's doing. So if the market is showing people are very greedy, that's when it's like, maybe I'll take some foot off the gas or do a little profit taking. When you have people in extreme fear, this is that accumulation zone. Unfortunately, the general population seems to kind of do the opposite of what they should be doing. And here on this channel, we try to be very cognizant of where the markets are at so that you can take full advantage of these opportunities. Good morning, Husker. Good morning, Dunder. And good morning, Dean. So Bitcoin's sitting right now at 71,000, which is not all too different from where we were yesterday. In fact, looking at the 24-hour chart here, almost exactly where it was yesterday when we streamed. So not a lot has moved in the past 24 hours. I would say that this shows at least some sign of consolidation. So, as we're looking through this right now, there was a little bit of a pullback in the afternoon, but it climbed out of that throughout the evening into overnight. Now we're exactly where we started this time yesterday on the stream. I'm pulling these between the 24s and the weekly charts. So I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it again. Until I've seen some sort of movement in the market that's 7 days or more of growth, or I guess in some cases you could say 7 days in a row of market pullback, for me all bets are off as far as expecting a bull market anytime soon. I think we could still see a new bottom for Bitcoin, which means that we'd see a new bottom for the rest of the altcoin market. That's something that I'm really keenly watching out for. Basically, we have this kind of tabletop pattern over the past year. We're looking right here where it was up, was around June to August, maybe a little bit in November. We see this, this green zone here. From about November to New Year's, it went flat. And then from around February to March, we saw a new bottom, but it's otherwise kind of been flat down here as well. I'm thinking there could be one more of these before we officially hit the actual bottom and start to spiral, or not spiral, but start to rotate back into the price appreciation zone, or at least recovery zone. Husker Nation says, I think BTC can drop another 15 to 17% for a bottom. I tend to agree. I'm thinking we could see a Bitcoin hit somewhere in that 50s range. In fact, it kind of did for like a very brief moment on February 5th, but didn't stay there long. I think we could be seeing, 55 to 60K Bitcoin, I think is pretty reasonable Now, of course, could be wrong about that. Maybe the bottom is in, and we'll see that spiral, not spiral out of control, but spiral upwards or rotate upwards going forward. I'm just not convinced that that's going to happen. And basically what that means, because everything's tied to Bitcoin, at least for now, I could be seeing, a $1.20 XRP, I think is not too unreasonable. Now, if XRP does go to $1.20, think of the accumulation zone that you would be getting there. I got my handy dandy calculator out. At $1.20, if you wanted to get 10,000 XRP, that's only going to cost you 12 grand. That is a lot different than what it was looking like this time last year when XRP was, roughly around, I want to say it was about $2 this time last year, and then it shot up to $3 pretty quickly in June. So right now, if XRP does go to $1.20, you're getting quite literally double the input that you would have gotten this time last year. So this is really good for people that maybe you're playing catch up, or if you just want to have the largest bag known to mankind. If you were going to do it, now is that time. And if we see XRP go to $1.20, that's exactly the price range you're looking for to really be taking full advantage of this, doing some major stacking and really bringing up your portfolio's bottom line. Now, unfortunately, the XRP rich list seems to be down. We like using that as a resource. It does not appear, not sure what's going on with it. This was a community run. Oh, look at that. Maybe it's back up. Well, let's take a look. This is the first time I've seen this thing working in over a week, so this is cool. We'll talk about this real quick before jumping back to the other coins. Every week these figures go down, and it makes sense because more wallets are getting opened up. So here on the right is basically the percentages, and on the left are the solid numbers. So the wallet addresses are going to always move up and to the right. This makes sense because I don't actually believe it's possible to close a wallet. I think you can drain it down to 1 XRP. As far as I know, you actually can't just delete a wallet altogether. So it makes sense that the wallet count will eventually move up and to the right. And right now there's, I believe, 7.7 million wallets. Yeah. So 7.7 million wallets. That number is going to continue going up. So that does mean that the percentage brackets are going to get pulled downward over time. What's cool about this is that if you're in this game early, you could just sit and do nothing and rise up in the rich list. Now, I know some people say oh, well, who cares? It's not a sport. It's not a game. Why am I competing against other people? Well, the main point I want to drive is that this is a limited resource. So there's only ever going to be 100 billion XRP in existence. And so it is important to see where you measure up against the global population. Even if you're not trying to do it for competitive reasons, it's good to know where you stand. And right now, to be in a top 1% holder, you need 45,000 XRP. When I first started tracking this, it was around 52,000. So that would have been around this time last year. It's gone down about 7,000 tokens since then. Meaning, as long as you just hang in there, most people that are in this space are probably going to become top 1%ers just by buying and holding. But another thing that I want to address, because I mentioned it yesterday on the stream, but we couldn't pull up this chart. Some of these big accounts, right, that have, in some cases, 10 million tokens, 20 million, 100 million, 500 million. Those are exchange wallets. And if you hold your tokens on an exchange, you're part of that figure. So you don't have your own wallet on Coinbase or on Kraken or on Uphold. You are on the exchange's wallet. And they might have 50 different wallets. And so when you send your tokens to Coinbase or to Uphold or, you know, to Kraken, there's a field that says memo, and that memo is your identifier tag. Otherwise, you're just giving XRP back to the Coinbase, and they don't know whose it's going to, but they'll certainly take it. Not that they could stop themselves from taking it anyways, but that is why you need to have your memo, because once it's transferred, the only way to know whose wallet it goes to is by having that actual like account identifier. But the point of that being is that someone out there who's never opened up a wallet is not going to appear in this list. So I'm thinking there's actually probably a lot more XRP holders out there than we originally thought. I would be more than certain a lot of them are still on the exchanges and have never taken them off. So it's going to be hard for us to know really how many people out there are using cold wallets. Now, to that point, though, we do know that there are 7.7 million wallets. I have to imagine a lot of people that get very into this community probably take their XRP off chain. Maybe not immediately, but over the span of time. And so you could still be in the top 1% of people that are like really about this. I think it's still indicative that not that many people have 45,000 XRP or more. I think that this figure will go down. You know, give it a couple of years, we might see this thing as low as like 30,000 XRP to be in the top 1%. And when we start to see price appreciation, I think this will really drop. So you guys are buzzing in the chat. I want to catch up on it. Echo saying, looks like TAO might be decoupling for Bitcoin. I'm pretty bullish on it. Probably second favorite coin. I've added TAO to my watch list as well. I might add it in as my 5th token. Steph was saying, I was thinking of getting some TAO this week, thinking it was just over $200 last time I looked. Now I see it's up at 361. We're gonna jump back over the charts and look at that. I'm gonna just quickly breeze through these chats. Dean was saying, I was thinking yesterday how much XRP and crypto in general gets lost or left behind since you can't drain a wallet to zero. When I pulled mine off Robinhood, it left a minuscule amount. Yeah, so all of those will eventually add up, right? So those will kind of add up as like dead wallets, but also like if you think there's millions of wallets out there, they'll have like one token. That kind of, I don't want to say it's going to add to a supply crunch, but it's more than zero. Then Millpower's got a great point. You know, people that die and lose their keys, or people just lose their keys in general, those are immediately out of circulation permanently. So that's an interesting thing too, right? Because, you know, if someone dies and they lose their wallet and no one knows that they had one, those coins are gone. Or if you accidentally threw your seed phrase in the trash, which I hope you guys would never do, but those are also permanently gone. So interesting to wonder how many XRP tokens have been lost to these circumstances over the years. I have to imagine it's probably more than we think. Husker says, until clarity, it's still the Wild West out there in the crypto market. Only ones that would be bullish right now is with an ETF support. I do think that's a good point. Well, not necessarily the ETF. I mean, the ETF part too, but until we have clarity, we're still in the Wild West era. And so I'm looking at stuff that either has ETF support or in some cases, the ISO 20022 listing is also a good platform of support as well. And so, yeah, Dean's talking about kicking the bucket. So you guys are just kind of following up on that. Let's head over back to CoinMarketCap and take a look at TAO. So this is going to be my number 3 coin, or number 5 coin for sure. I mean, look at that, you guys. It's up 100% in the past month. And this is actually pretty crazy. So we're looking at 357 right now. Best cartridge out there. Still down from its all-time high. I think the all-time was in the 700s. Yeah, it was. So pulling this thing back to March or yeah, March 9th of 2024. So that would have been 2 years ago. Bitensor was up to 715. So we're still actually far below that all-time high, but just seeing Bitensor run up 110% in 1 month, that's pretty, that's pretty extreme. Now I'm kicking myself thinking, man, I could have bought more of this, but hindsight is 2020. It's on my watch list. I'll probably start to DCA into it very, very, very shortly here. As you guys know, I will be returning to work here pretty soon. I want to give a small update on that as well while we're here. I'm still working out what my hours will be, and I want to make sure that I'm not doing stuff that's going to cause friction at this new gig. So the plan right now is to just move the stream up to 9 a.m. Let me see if that's actually going to work before we officially announce that. But, you know, I could do this stream from probably 9 o'clock to maybe 9:45. I think that would be reasonable because I'm in the Eastern time zone, but I'm not working Eastern time zone hours. I'll be working Pacific. So I can't imagine in the Pacific time zone, you know, no one's expecting you to work at 6 a.m., which 9 a.m. here would be 6 a.m. over there. So we'll probably move the stream up to earlier in the morning. Hopefully all of that is going to continue to work. I just need to hammer out some of those details. Hopefully I'll be able to announce that either tomorrow or on Friday, what I'm officially going to do. Otherwise, you know, I know some of you guys are in Europe. I could always just stream at night. That's also an option. I'd prefer the mornings though, because it does seem like, you know, you wake up, you see what's the first thing you do when you wake up? You open your phone and look at look at the news, right? So ideally, I'd like to keep it in the mornings. We'll see. So then, Husker says, why not have this stream in the evening when XRP news have come out? Well, that's kind of like the opposite of what I was just saying, but that we could see. Part of the thing is when you do the mornings, you know, you hit and I know crypto never closes, but you know, we could hit the silver, gold, and stocks and oil markets all open, I believe at 9:30 Eastern time. At least the stock market does. So we'll see. And now Dean brings up another good point that he doesn't wake up until 9 a.m. I'll have to figure this thing out. Maybe I will stream at night. I'll think about it. I want to do what works best for you guys. And then beyond that, I'll still have regular posted videos. I know I haven't made a few in a while, or I've kind of slowed down on it, I guess. Mostly because I've been sort of just in like vacation mode. Now that I know that I'm going back to work, it's like, let me play as much video games and do as much leisurely activity as I can before I'm officially a responsible adult again. So once I kind of get back into the, all right, I'm working grind mindset, I'll be making more videos. But for now, I'm basically just streaming. But yeah, I know some of you guys that watching this are in Europe, so it makes it tough. It's like, well, I got to figure out what the right timeline would be. We'll do something that works. Maybe I'll just do like a half hour in the morning, an hour at night. Or I don't know if I'd want to stream twice in one day, but once I have my schedule laid out, it'll be a lot easier to kind of work those things out. So going back to markets here, Bitensor's been killing it. Quant has also been doing pretty good. Although I'd have to say Bitensor's probably doing the best of anything right now. Quant is still up almost 10% on the week. It's basically recovered. It was at one point at $80. It's now at 75. So Quant's recovered its lost footing, and this shows signs of decoupling from Bitcoin for sure. Still down from the yearly high of $134. So this is still on sale. In fact, the highest it's ever been was $370. So, you know, Quant's interesting because it hit these really big highs in 2021 and has not really recovered them since. And that also includes the 2024 run that some of our favorite coins saw, giant price explosion from. Didn't get that out of Quant, but I do think Quant will be in line for the next one. And so right now my buy list is XRP, Flare, HBAR, Quant, and Potensor. Those are the 5 that I'll be buying once I get back to my own day job. By the way, for those of you guys watching, it's a really tough job market out there. If you have a job, I would just make sure that you stay employed. It might be harder than you think to get a new gig at this current time. I don't think it's going to last like this forever. But due to really bad inflation, this whole war in Iran is a new it's a new can of worms altogether. I think there's going to be a lot of hiring freezes this year, and there's probably going to be a lot of layoffs as well. So I would say that we're in kind of like the stay alive zone. I know that sometimes it's like you get frustrated at work, your performance review turned into a 2% raise when you're expecting a promotion. This might not be the time to get greedy. Just staying alive is a lot better. Speaking from experience, I lost a lot of ground by going 4 months unemployed. Now that's coming to an end, but can you imagine all the gains I could have made? Because you guys know I love my dollar cost averaging. I've basically been out since, let's see here. I've been basically out since Thanksgiving. So any of these coins that I love, I've been buying them a little bit with money I shouldn't be using, but I was doing it, unemployment money. But beyond that, it's been tough for me to dollar cost average these past couple months. So it's like, if you got to just keep your head down and grind, just do what it takes to stay alive, because these periods of times don't last. The super accumulation zone prices, but also the bad times in general. There's gonna at some point be a time where there's like a hiring boom, and it's like you could get hired with a 70 IQ. Yeah. So Echo says you were out during the bear market and crypto sale. I know it has been tough, man. Hopefully, I'm greedy. I want this thing to stay low for a little bit. Flare is hanging out in these all-time low zones. It looks like it could continue going lower into the 007s, which if it does, I mean, I'm going to be buying Flare no matter what. So it's not like that's going to change, but the window of opportunity here to get millions of Flare is starting to become pretty good. If this thing goes all the way down to 007, I mean, you could get a million Flare for just $7,000. You could get a few million Flare for like 20. And nothing on my end has changed. I still think Flare will someday be $1 or more. And so I kind of like the million Flare threshold, because it's like when it hits $1, it's really easy math. A million Flare equals $1 million. Obviously, it's going to take some time to get there, but I don't know if it's possible at this point for us to dollar cost average, for example, HBAR up to 1 million tokens. That's going to be tough to do. HBAR hanging out nearly at 10 cents. Are we being realistic here? Are you going to be able to put $100,000 into contributing principal this year into HBAR? Probably not. So getting 1 million HBAR probably going to be pretty tough. Getting 100,000 XRP, that's going to be even tougher. So I'm looking at Flare, and it's like your Flare is really playing from behind right now. You go all in on that bad boy. When things start to recover, I'm thinking Flare could be the one. By the way, guys, there's about 30 of you in here. Can I get you guys to like the stream? There's only 5 likes so far. Every little bit does help get this stream out there to the masses. So we've looked at, I think we've covered off all my favorite tokens, but let's just see if there's any other big winners on the 7-day chart here. Bitensor is by far and away in first place. Now, if I filter this thing, so TAO on coinmarketcap.com is in second place on the 7-day growth. Never heard of Siren. It's probably a meme coin. Oh, actually, it's not. So Siren is number 42 in CoinMarketCap, but this is a weird looking chart. I mean, this thing just shoots up in a vertical line. If you look at the all chart, it's like this is a weird looking coin. I've never heard of it before until just now, so I don't know what it's all about, but well, something strange here. So this coin started last year in 2025 in February. It looks like that's when it launched. And it's up like am I reading that right? That's up 2.5 million%. That's, I don't know what to say. That's pretty crazy. I can tell you what though, I wouldn't be buying it at its current price. Well, nonetheless, Josh Laser is looking into Canton. I know some people like Canton. I'm not personally a fan of it because I don't like that. One, it has infinite max supply. Two, there's no self-custody. And then three, it seems to be the Wall Street coin. And when I say Wall Street coin, I mean, you know, all of these coins are going to get used by Wall Street. But it seems like Canton is Wall Street's response to a coin like XRP, for example. Now, I'm not trying to play, you know, politics here, but I just don't trust it. I guess that's the thing. Now, that doesn't mean I'm sure people will make a lot of money on Canton. I'm just wondering, you know, if when I buy stuff, I look at things I want to be holding for 10 or more years. Am I going to actually have custody of this coin? Am I going to be able to say it's mine, or is it going to be the exchange's coin and I'm just holding it for them? You kind of get that sometimes. You don't want to have a token that you can't one day sell, especially when it's time to sell and they're like, "Oops, actually you're locked out of your account." That's the kind of stuff I worry about. I'm not saying Canton is going to do that, but it's something that like I think about, and I'm just very cautious of Canton. But I mean, it's doing pretty good, all things considered. It's in the top 20. Came out of absolute nowhere just in November. Now, apparently, Canton was in the works for over a decade now, but then just hits CoinMarketCap in November of 2025. So it's really only been out for like 4 months. There's too much weird stuff with this one. I know some people like it. You know, if you like something, get it. I just don't think I don't think I'll be getting Canton. And then Marquise asks, anything new with SHX? Now, this is one I don't follow too closely, but we can pull it up. A Control X did not pull it up, so it must really be deep in there. I'm pretty sure SHX is an ISO compliant token. We'll look at the listing there to confirm that. I don't know enough about this token to really say one way or another. Other than that, you know, it seems to be following the same trends as all of our other favorite coins for now. I'm going to real quickly look to see if SHX is in fact an ISO token. I think that it is, but I want to make sure. If you don't know how to do this, let me slow it back. If you don't know how to do this, on coinmarketcap.com, there's this top ribbon. You can go down to here where it says more and select more categories. And then what I'm going to do is do a Control F and type in ISO. And that's going to take me to this ISO 2002 listing. So these are all the tokens that are ISO compliant. There's only 15 at the moment, and I don't think I see SHX on here. I'm about to sneeze. Oh yeah, it's springtime, baby. I'm gonna be doing a lot of sneezing soon. I don't see SHX on this one. I don't know enough about it, to be honest with you, so I can't say whether it's a good or a bad buy at the moment. But Josh did ask to look into XPR. XPR is on the ISO 2002 list, so we can take a look at this one. I don't have any of this either. I tend to stay away from the lower market cap coins just because it's a double-edged sword. So coins with lower market cap have a little bit more runway for explosive growth, but then there's also the risk that they just never get picked up. So, you know, with a market cap of 70 million, there's a chance that XPR just never gets picked up, never goes anywhere. But if it does get picked up, it could end up exploding in value way beyond what some of our favorite coins have done. I mean, for example, it's only at 0.2 of a penny. So like that, you could scoop up a crazy amount of this. If this thing goes to $1, you're set. But I just like, you know, for example, I'll go to XRP for reference here. XRP has a market cap at $86 billion, and that's after the complete slide that we've had in this market. And so seeing this kind of market cap, it's like, all right, there's gravity to this. If XRP fails, $86 billion fail with it. Whereas if XPR fails, only a couple $1 million fail with it, like 60, 70 million. It's a lot different. And so I look for coins that do have the gravity. It's kind of like a safety in numbers kind of thing. And that's why I really try to stick to the top 50 to 100 coins when I'm looking at things to buy. I just think you guys, Flare, I know it's ranked down to 69 now. I'm probably going to go to 70 before too long. I know this one feels like it's down in the dirt right now, but I do still believe in time Flare is going to be a top 10 network. And so my conviction is very strong. Now, Millpower says, SHX is favored by a few prominent people in the space. I can do more research on it. But since I don't know enough about it, I feel like it wouldn't be a good idea for me to opine. Otherwise, you know, I'd just be talking out of my butthole, but I just don't know enough about that coin. I can look more into it. If you guys want me to know the deets on that one, I'll spend some time researching it. XLM had a little mini rip, I believe. Dinah has brought that up. Normally, Stellar and XRP move hand in hand. It looks like Stellar is moving a little bit different from XRP. If I'm going to pull up XRP's chart, we'll kind of look at them side by side here. So Stellar has had a nice little pump here, whereas XRP has not. So that's always interesting to me because they usually move hand in hand. Not hicking up here. And if you know about XLM's, you know, history, XLM is basically XRP minus the escrow. So there's 50 billion XLM, there's 100 billion XRP, and XLM is the same code as XRP. It's just that Jed McCaleb left Ripple, took the white paper with them, and spun off basically another version of XRP that's just 50 billion in total supply. That's why they move very hand in hand. But XRP has escrow and XLM does not. Otherwise, the code base is pretty much the same. So if people maybe don't know that about Stellar, that's why I don't really buy it, is because I'm already buying XRP. To me, it feels like buying the same coin. So instead of instead of buying the same thing twice, I'd rather buy a project that XRP doesn't cover. That way I kind of diversify the market a little better. And that's why I'm looking at TAO as being added to my list, because it just does something that XRP is not involved with. By the way, since we've been streaming, TAO is still on the rise. Pretty interesting to see how fast this thing has ripped. I mean, up 115% on the month. It makes you wonder, like, man, if you were buying TAO earlier this winter, man, you could have absolutely made a killing on it. Like back when it was 150 bucks, you would be up quite substantially. But it's the power of hindsight. It doesn't work that way. You got to take what you get. And so I'm looking at it right now and I'm thinking it might, I mean, there's two ways to go about it. Way number one, you just suck it up and say, I missed out on the best buying opportunity. The next best one is right now. Or you look at it and say, I missed the boat on this one. Maybe I'll look at some other coins that haven't hit their rip yet and focus up on those. And so that's what I'm personally doing by really going all in on Flare right now. That doesn't mean my strategy will work. I think there could be some value to dollar cost averaging into this one, even if it's already had its rip. Same thing goes for Quant. Quant is also doing pretty good this week. I would still be buying this in my DCA portfolio. And of course, putting a little bit of extra money into Flare. I'm going to be doing a video as soon as I get my first paycheck. I want to see what my check looks like after taxes and like the health deductions, you know, the vision and the medical insurance and all that fun stuff. I want to see what it looks like after that. Then I'm going to do a video covering what my exact buying strategy is going to be going forward. I think you guys will like that video. I have an idea. I don't want to change, because once you post the video, it's like there forever. So I want to make sure that I have all of my ducks in a row before I shoot that one. But I do think you guys are going to like it. Let's move on to the other markets. We're going to look at metals now. Silver is at $73. It's come back up over the past 24 hours. We're seeing that it's, it hit some pretty low numbers there. A couple days ago it was at $61. Now it's up to $73. So we're seeing some recovery in silver. Of course, we're seeing recovery in gold as well, back above 4,500. Still a far cry away from being above 5,000, but we'll keep an eye on this one. I know some people are very big in the metals markets. If you were going to buy these, I ask that you please buy the physical bar, coin, bullion, whatever it is you're getting, your Eagles. Just make sure that you're buying the silver and gold that you can touch. If you can't touch it, you don't actually own it. I don't care what anyone says. I would never trade paper, silver, or gold. I wouldn't trade paper oil either. That's just a personal opinion of mine. I don't like the idea of trading paper commodities. So take that with a grain of salt, because you don't actually own the thing. You own like the futures of it, which means that you could also just never get paid when it comes time to execute those contracts. Dunder Dave asks, what do you think DeFi's potential is given the latest Clarity news? So I spent some time thinking about this last night. Let me go regular screen here, because I'm gonna kind of share my thoughts. I was thinking about the Clarity Act and how the whole stablecoin thing is a downer, right? You're not getting yield on stablecoins, but we're working in an industry that has workarounds, and so I'm thinking about this. Could the no stablecoin yield actually be used to our benefit? And the way that could work is that they're basically saying that you don't get any yield for having stable coins just sitting in a wallet. Like right now on Coinbase, you can get like 4% if you're holding on to USDC or something like that. So that's going away, but it doesn't mean that stable coins are going away. I would bet that the crypto industry is smart enough to find a way to make a loophole so that maybe there's like a rotation, like like you ever go to a sushi place and they got little sushi rolls on the conveyor belt that's technically moving, it's sushi in motion. What if stable coins just become like that, where the stable coin is moving from here to there, so it's not just sitting there and you can still get yield? I wonder if some of the platforms like the Flare network might be able to absorb some of that and have a platform that's like, hey, look, we can do all this stuff with your stable coins. I'm wondering if the no stable coin yield in the bill could actually end up being an advantage for the Flare network. We'll have to see. I think Hugo Fillion shares my sentiment on that. I'm going to go back to here. I think he's even tweeted so much as that. Now, I don't think I saved. Oh, wait. Here we are. I didn't even have to. I got pretty lucky this time, you guys. It's already up. Hugo saying, rewards on activity, you say, fits in very well with the FLR governance proposal. So there's a chance here that this actually works out pretty well for the Flare network in particular. I'm sure some of these other ones will work out too. Like Hedera's HBAR, Ethereum, all these other chains that are working with stable coins. I think Ethereum has a majority of them, if I'm being honest. I think that'll end up working out for them as well. I want to see if Hugo's got anything more to say about the stablecoin stuff. We're seeing a lot of people moving into DeFi, not just with Flare, but DeFi in general. Flare's definitely, in my opinion, going to be one of the biggest winners of it. But it seems like around the market, people are sharing my sentiment that the real victory here is delegating your tokens and getting some return on that. So I'm still, the thing about the Clarity Act that I'm still worried about is the know your customer, the KYC, and just the overall loss of your anonymity. I'm more worried about that than I am the stablecoin stuff. So I'm still, I'm not like jumping for joy quite yet for this thing. By the way, I got a loose eyelash. It's been driving me nuts all morning. I think I'm about to get it. Okay, I think we're good enough. So we haven't looked at the bond stuff yet. Oh, by the way, S&P 500 sitting at around 6,600. Then we're going to jump into the bonds. Nothing ventured, nothing gained over the past 5 days. S&P 500 looking pretty flat. Oil has gone down. Oil is currently at 15,000 yen per barrel, down from the 17,000 it was last week. You look at these charts and they're kind of just like crazy to look at. Vertical lines up, vertical lines down. Nothing about this feels organic or natural to me. We're just gonna have to keep watching this stuff. I don't really like when I see these types of lines. These kind of tell me that there's something screwy going on. That it's not organic, not making much sense. But we're going to have to keep an eye on this. At this point in time, there's so much manipulation and the news is so fake that we don't really know what's going on over there in the Middle East. All I can say is that when the price of oil goes up, it probably means things are getting bad. And if the price comes back down, it means that things are probably getting better. So seeing this thing go shooting up and down, like this, just vertical lines up, vertical lines down, doesn't tell me that things are getting better over there. It tells me that maybe there's some deception going on. We're going to have to keep watching this, and we will keep watching it. Mill Power says, one word, exposure. People are waking up, and banks will soon realize a shift as people say screw the banks and go to other routes, especially after clarity is enacted. And Mill Power seems to think clarity might be coming by next week. I think that's true. The Senate has to move on the Clarity Act within certain windows, or else it gets pushed into different voting periods. So I think the window of opportunity for the Clarity Act is rapidly coming to a close here. If it doesn't go in before April, I don't think we see the Clarity Act get voted on again until summertime. And I don't know the exact Senate schedule, but it does seem like if it's going to happen, it does need to happen in the next week or two here. Japanese government bond, 10-year bond, up to 2.25, which is a slight pullback from what we saw earlier this week, actually. It was above 2.3 for a few days. Now it's kind of back down into this middle range. Keeping a close eye on this one as well. If this thing does go up to 2.5, maybe to 3.0, reverse carry trade could still happen. Of course, that's why we're tracking all of the oil and the bond market and the relation between that. I think that there needs to be a little bit more damage done before this thing actually can unwind in that way. But we're going to keep monitoring it, and I think with Clarity Act coming, that could be kind of like a bowl of soup. You're putting all the ingredients into the soup to turn this thing into a big giant pot of money for XRP holders. But we'll see if it plays out that way. We've been tracking it for a while. So far, I don't think numbers have gone up. I don't think 2.25 is enough to do it. I don't think a 15,000 yen barrel is enough to do it. So we just need to see those things continue to rise if the reverse carry trade is going to happen. Otherwise, crude oil back below $90 here in the United States, so you should start to see some of this at the gas pump. I think prices will come back down a little bit. I know for a little bit here in Michigan, gas officially went over $4 a gallon. I think we'll probably see it go down in like the high threes, like 380, 390 range. Not great, but also not as bad either. Jumping into my DeFi spreadsheet here, I don't think we're expecting a delegation reward today, but let's check it out. Yep, so no stake reward, no delegation reward. That makes sense. Now I would expect tomorrow, if I don't get the reward tomorrow, I'll definitely have it by Friday. We got our yellow box highlighted there. We are definitely going to be tracking that. I'm expecting it. Let's see if I'm right. I bet it's going to be somewhere between 190 and 200 for the staked reward. We'll have to see if that turns out to be true or not, but I think that it probably will be. Now, as far as my collateral pools, we're up to 417.98. Not quite. No, okay. There we go. Not quite satisfied with the collateral pool. I probably, after August, would not continue to be in it. It just hasn't been as lucrative as staking and wrapping has been. Now, you do get some FXRP as a reward from that, but it just hasn't been enough. It has not, I might generate 3 to 4 XRP a year with 50,000 flare in collateral. 4 XRP right now is like $1.40. That's really not that hard to just go and buy more XRP. So I can't say at the moment that I'm exactly blown away by. I'm not exactly blown away by the collateral, but that's good. I mean, that's what we're here to do. We're figuring all this stuff out, figuring out where the best rewards are. And so I think staking right now is your best bet if you're trying to do something with your flare. And then obviously with FXRP, the returns are not as nice, but you weren't really getting anything with your XRP before. So I guess anything is better than zero. But then you can also make the argument is like, well, is actually anything better than zero? Because you are doing more than just when you get involved in DeFi, you're doing more than just having it sit in a wallet. The potential to lose your tokens is greater than zero, and so it's something to think about. You're gonna have to make that. Those kind of decisions are gonna be up to you guys. I'm okay with going about 2,000 XRP into FXRP for now. I want to see a little bit more data before I put any more of my XRP into this stuff. But I do think that in the long run, it's probably going to work out just fine. On Kinetic, Flare is getting a 9% and FXRP is getting a 3.2. The percentages on Mystic right now, up to just shy of 4%. I can work with 4%. It's still not a lot, but it's more than it used to be in the low twos here on Mystic. 4% is okay. We can work with that. I still would like to see it somewhere in like that 4 to 6% instead of the 2 to 4. So if this thing cracks into like that 5% range, then I'm like, okay, this is fine. Even 4% is, I can live with it. I'm not necessarily jumping for joy. Over here on Scepter, I don't think I'm going to be getting a reward necessarily in the near future. I think it's going to take some time to get my stake reward. But I do notice that every day my wrap flare goes up by a small amount. So I'm curious, what is the mechanism doing that? Because I'm assuming I'm also going to get a stake reward out of this as well, and that I don't think that this is reflective of that. So it's interesting. I don't know how Scepter works exactly, but we're going to be recording all of this data. And then on Kinetic, I haven't had a claimable reward yet. I do expect it'll happen soon. I'll be getting at least 285 flare from my Kinetic rewards once those are officially claimable. So there's a lot of cool stuff, a lot of things moving here. By August, we'll have a very good picture of what's the best way to grow your DeFi portfolio is going to be. I'm assuming it's probably still going to be staking it. So either staking it on the Flare network or getting your stuff into Scepter, probably going to be the top two options for you. With Kinetic probably being third place. And then if you had to choose between using Kinetic or just wrapping, probably better off using Kinetic. But if you're cool with just letting your flare sit in a lock-in period, you know, I've got my flare locked until January of 2027. As long as you don't mind, you could, you know, put your stuff into staking there. I think you probably can get the best bang for your buck that way. So got through the crypto update, got through the DeFi spreadsheet. We got about 7 minutes left on the stream. I'm going to hop over to Twitter, see if we've got any breaking news to cover. For a second, I thought this was Charles Hoskinson. Some people don't like the way I pronounce Hoskinson because on the Detroit Lions, we used to have a guy whose last name was Hawkinson. So that's just kind of what I say. So I know it's Hoskinson, but my muscle memory makes me say Hawkinson. So Not that it really matters, but Charles Hoskinson kind of looks like Peter Jackson. Are there really going to be more? You know, they're not going to be any good. Movies today are no longer any good. So to me, there was only 3 Lord of the Rings movies. Whatever they do with it, it ain't going to be any good. Looking for crypto news. None of this is crypto related at all, even though I only follow crypto pages. Okay, now my Twitter's just frozen altogether. Wow, my whole Google Chrome is frozen. Am I still streaming, you guys? If I'm still streaming, let me know. My entire screen is frozen. What the heck is going on here? Okay, well, that was weird. Okay, I got there we go. I'm moving again. I think Twitter is cursed, you guys. I think Twitter is cursed. Look what Pat's saying there. Oh, I know about this one. All right, I'm just gonna have to hit the following button. I only follow crypto accounts, and yet I get all kinds of crazy stuff. A lot of OnlyFans crap. A lot of it's not like when I say OnlyFans crap, I mean like accounts advertising. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. I get a bunch of that crap. I get a bunch of streamer updates. I mean, I don't care about Clavicular one way or the other, but like I don't follow any of his accounts, and yet it's inescapable. Anyways, let's see what we got here with Firelight. So, So it looks like there were some exploits out there. Is Firelight saying... okay, I get what they're saying here. Firelight hasn't had anything lost. The DeFi space has had stuff lost, and I think Firelight is saying they're going to provide the solution for it. I think this is a strangely worded tweet. I probably would have worded it a little bit differently. Because just blazing through this, if I were to read this as a headlight, I would have been like, wait, what? Firelight lost 140 million? But I think they're saying that other chains have lost that, not themselves. I would have worded that a little differently. Let's see here. Yeah, so here on the Twitter space, it's basically just people talking about price being down, which we all know. We all know that it's down. So I'll hop on the Discord if you want to chat for a quick second. Otherwise, I'm going to start wrapping up the stream. By the way, if you guys want to join the Discord, I think probably most of you are already in it, but just in case, if you want to join, I'm going to put that in the chat here, and then I'll pin it. And this will be a good way for us to definitely stay in contact, especially if I kind of return to work and maybe don't have as much time for content as I used to. This would be a good way for us to still do what we're doing. I'll still be making. I have to figure out when I'm going to be streaming. I still have to think about that. If most of you guys are still sleeping at 9 a.m., that doesn't do any good either. So I gotta figure out what we're gonna do there. But with that, guys, I will start closing this thing out. We're at the top of the hour. Iman, if you want to jump into Discord real quick, we can kind of give it a 1-2. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully you guys have a nice day. It's spring, so lots of sneezing going on, a lot of sneezing, a lot of snow melting. So take the good with the bad. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.